Hey, it's Matt Pinfield. It's KLOS New and Approved. I'm here with a great friend of mine, a guy I love very much, Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. Jacoby, what's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
It's so good to see you.
Man.
Always good to see you, man. And we got together luckily quite a few times during the pandemic since the last time you were on the air here, which is really cool. And so much has happened in the meantime. So, we're going to talk about the new album. But first, let's talk about the song that I started the show with tonight, Cut the Line. Let's talk. I love this single. Talk to me about this song lyrically, because I love this track.
This song I wrote after a long conversation with my son Jagger. He was really struggling with some depression for a while, and I think it runs in the family. And he was just having a real rough time, having some real dark thoughts, and it was a moment where I had the opportunity to speak some life into my son, and also just to sit there and listen. And this song was born from that conversation between he and I, and we share a lot of things in common. Obviously it's my son, but there's so many, personality traits and characteristics that, he has that I have. And so I could just talk to him from a space of experience of, being in that dark place myself at moments in my life. And, even when things around me are lovely and beautiful and my family loves me and things are going good, there's moments where there can still be this looming darkness, and it's a tough thing, to walk through as an adult, as a kid, either or, right?
Yeah.
But just putting that into a song really was a great process for me, and being able to, I guess, share that story, because I think it needs to be heard,
Yeah.
And it's such a great ripping, rocking, heavy song, but with such a deep emotional moment tethered in lyrically.
Well, the truth about all your songs, Jacoby, to me, are I know you live them. You're not. You when you write from a place of personal experience. That's always been your way. Or the experience of someone you love and care about, or something you're observing. You've been like that since the very beginning.
Absolutely.
Since Last Resort, when you had that friend who was going through that rough time.
Yep.
That inspired that song that stayed on the top of the charts for 7 weeks. It was the number one rock record,
That was wild.
And, of course, it's amazing. We're looking back now at that and Infest, and I'm saying, wow, it just blows my mind. But I love that what you have in that quality, it's very genuine and sincere, and that's the thing that's really important about it. And you as an artist, one of the things I got to say, too, is, your performing is as great as ever. I've followed through the different tours. You crush as a frontman. You really do. You give every night like it's going to be your last show, or like your life depends on it, might be the best way to describe that. And, I want to talk about, before we go further, because I'm going to talk more about that, too, you did one of the coolest things ever here in Los Angeles to launch the new album, Ego Trip. You guys had a pizza party at Shakey's on Santa Monica. That was incredible. So let's talk about that, because that night was we had so much fun that night. Can we talk about that evening? What a way to celebrate,
man. Well, hence the album title, right? Ego Trip. We wanted to do have some moments around this record that were absolutely the opposite. It's like the anti-ego trip moment, and also to kind of celebrate a full circle moment for us as well. It's like when we first started out, playing anywhere and everywhere that would allow us to play. So we're playing teen centers, we're playing bars and standing outside and waiting until we could go on stage and rip it. We're playing pizza shacks. You know what I'm saying? We played, literally we played the parking lot of a gas station one time. I'm not going to lie. I ain't lying. Like, this is real. playing rock and roll for the people that are driving up and pumping their gas. This is back in like 1993, right? And so we were one of those bands that we wanted to play, we needed to play. And wherever we could go and throw down, that's where we did it, you know? In the process of coming up with the idea, management was like, hey, what do you guys think about doing Shakey's Pizza? And I was like, instantly, I'm like, yes, Shakey's Pizza. It's my wife's favorite pizza place. And I thought my wife would be all excited, you know? And I was like, hey, babe, we're going to do the album release party at Shakey's Pizza. And she's like, fuck you going to do? What? And I'm like, you love Shakey's Pizza, babe. What do you mean? You know, so it's kind of a funny moment. But I explained it to her. I'm like, listen, babe, this is like lowbrow, you know, just DIY style marketing around the record, and just a cool moment to like, yo, we play these big old stages. We play all the big stages. It's nice to come back to that super intimate space and throw down and just have a good time with some fans. And we had a great time that night, straight up, man. It was like, I mean, I was walking around serving pizza to people.
Yeah, you were serving it to me. You gave me everything pizza.
Supreme.
Supreme. You gave me some Supreme pizza, which is like really funny. Before you went on stage, I mean, you had a mosh pit going in there. And one of the things that I loved, you also brought your friends in there, like, you know, Jarris Johnson, who's done the mashup of Last Resort with you, and, you know, and Brendan from Atreyu, and guy from Hollywood Dead. I mean, I thought it was really cool, everybody that got up. But the thing that I loved the most was when you brought up your son, Brixton. Can we talk about that? First of all, tell everybody how old Brixton is. I mean, I love that name, of course. You know, I love that Clash song, The Guns of Brixton.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, it's like that song that inspired so many of us. And I know you played at venue, Brixton Academy in England before. And, you know, so let's talk about that, because having your son up there, I mean, he was rocking out. That was so cool. How old is Brixton? And tell me about when you talked to him about going on stage with you, or actually on the floor, because we were doing it right on the pizza parlor floor, right?
That's right.
Tell me about that, because I just thought that was one of the greatest things I saw. I shared that video with so many people that I shot of you with your son doing stand-up. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. So Brixton he's 8 years old, loves rock and roll music, loves hip-hop, loves punk rock, loves metal. I'd like to say Papa Roach is his favorite band, but Turnstile is his favorite band. So I'll be honest. But he's always wanting to come on stage. And like, first it started off a couple of years ago. He's like, I want to come on and dance on stage. Like, just dance to the music and go. I'm like, cool, dude, go get back there and tear it up, man. And he's progressed from that. And now he wants to sing. And it's just so cute. It's lovely, man. It really is, man. It just warms my heart, to be completely honest. And, you know, I'm a family man, straight up, right? You know, I love this rock and roll thing. It's dope. It's dope as fuck. It's a great job. But family man, you know? And so to be able to have him roll out to Shakey's Pizza and grab that mic and spit bars with me, and like, he laid it down. He did such a great job. And I was like, man, this kid damn stole the show, dude. I can't bring this kid out anymore, man. He's going to steal the show every time. He's a showstopper, baby.
It was amazing. He was so great.
It was a great moment. And he had been talking about it for like a month prior. Like, hey, Dad, how many more days till I get to sing with you at Shakey's Pizza? I'm like, it's 29 days, Bubba. 29 more days. How many weeks is that? I'm like, it's almost 4 weeks. Yeah. Almost a month.
It was beautiful, man. It was a beautiful moment. You know, you and I talk about that, you know, just, you know, since we're friends, you know, behind the scenes and everything. But we love being dads, and we love our kids so much, and what that's all about, you know. And I think that's so great to include your son there. It was great. It was just so many of your friends were there, and big fans of the band. So
it felt like the right kind of place to do something like that. You know what I mean? It just, if we were on a big old stage at, like, you know, Sonic Temple, I think he'd just be like, like frightened, you know.
That
what
might
I mean?
be intimidating,
like
right? You know, with thousands of people, and I know people. You got shows coming up like Welcome to Rockville, Incarcerated. You got a lot of stuff. Aftershock. I'm excited about all the shows you'll be doing, but which I'll be at probably all of those with you. But you know, we need to talk about the fact that I started to say it earlier during the interview, but you still give every night when you perform. One of the things that I've noticed was you don't slow down. I mean, a lot of people that have been making records, you've been in the band longer, but made your first album, first major label record 22 years ago. I mean, you would never guess that. I mean, you are so full of great energy, live, passion, and conviction when you perform. And every time I see you, I go, man, Jacoby kills it every night. And it really, makes me very proud of you and just happy. And you always put on a great show. So if your fans are never, ever disappointed, which is one of the things that's really cool. Talk to me about, for you, what that's like. Because, I mean, you were running this morning, and you went out, we were texting, and you went out and did a nice run. But, I mean, it does take a lot of energy, and you give everything you got to your live shows. What is the thing that makes keeps it going? What is kind of the regimen, and what are those things that you do?
For me, it's innately, it's just encoded in my DNA, to be completely honest. Like, it's just, I got that go off switch, right? And when I flip the switch and get on that stage, I throw down, and that's just where, that's where it comes from. It's just in me. And, as far as like my regimen or whatnot, I try to stay fit, decently fit. You know what I mean? It's like, if I can run 8 miles before a tour, if I can go out in the afternoon, go knock out 8 miles and not be like destroyed, I'm ready for a tour. That means I got enough cardio to be able to sing and do that. And so that's a real good marker for me. And plus, running for me is just a great way to like untangle the ball of yarn, the tangled up knots in my mind. And so it's real healthy, mentally as well. But to also kind of hit on, all the greatest frontmen that I've ever admired have all been live wire style frontmen that just have energy and that bring that energy to the stage. And I'm inspired by that. And I want to give the fans a throwdown rock and roll show when they come out. I hate when I go watch a band and it's like watching paint dry. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be entertained. I want to feel like I'm part of it, and it's like that high energy is my way to like, almost like make people feel comfortable. Like, loosen up, people. Like, we could do this together, man. This is a moment we could share. Like, let's throw down, let's dance. And I feel like when your heart gets up to a certain place and you start sweating and everybody's moving and grooving to the same beat, there's magic in there, right? Like, there's magic in that moment. And I love to be the facilitator of that, Matt. Like, it's like, I feel like, when Michael Jordan was just killing it back in the day and just scoring gazillions of points every game, and he was getting in like the zone. It's like, I feel like I'm in for a rock singer, right? It's like, it's the zone for me when I'm just like, getting it. And I hear the crowd screaming back, and it's like, there's this connection. There's this palatable energy in the room. And I get excited. I'm getting worked up talking about it, man.
Well, it's funny, Jacoby, because that was a lot of the reviews and what people were talking about the night you did that show at the Pizza Parlor was how great you sounded with no monitors. You were in a room. There was like, there was all the guitars, drums, everything was completely live, and there was none of it was mixed. I mean, you guys were just playing like a band, like the way you started, and it sounded great.
Thank you, man. I think it just comes from that's kind of how we started this thing off, right? It was us. There was this place called the Fatty Mocha, and it's in Merced, California, in the middle of nowhere, right? But this little coffee shop, and they'd have us come play, and we'd set up right on the floor with the people. There'd be no monitors, a couple speakers, and all that's going through the PA is the vocal, the kick drum, and the snare drum. The guitars are just coming out of their amps, and I think that it's just, if we can just be raw and still sound good, that's a powerful thing. Because there's some bands these days, man, it's like when you take away all the effects and all the tracks and all that kind of stuff, it's like there's not much of a band there. And we pride ourselves on being a live band, and being good. Our guys, they practice and practice and practice, and they put a lot of care and effort and thought into their tones and their sounds and their performance. And it's important, man. I think that's one of the keys I guess part of one of the keys of our longevity as a band is that we take that craft seriously. And so even when we plug in at a Shakey's Pizza, I want to rock that bitch like it's an arena.
Yeah, well, it's funny too, because when I was talking to a friend of mine who was at Coachella I wasn't there this year. And he said to me, he goes, yeah, one of the guys I know is in production there said but maybe 10 bands played with instruments. I'm like, whoa, 10 bands.
Dude,
I'm like,
hey, check this out.
That's kind of crazy.
So I got invited to Coachella, right? And I did the completely opposite thing that I did at Shakey's, right? I show up at Coachella for emo night. They invited me to come out and I sang Last Resort. So I'm on stage, right, with this big old giant screen and it's going, you know, and there's no band behind me and there's DJs and I'm singing, right? And so I got to tell you, man, I'm guilty of being part of that, Matt. I did it.
Yeah, well, you know what? At least
I still got cred points, so it's cool.
You do, and you know what I mean. I'm just saying. I was referring to the truth. I didn't rock. I don't even get mad if some people use some tracks because I mean sometimes to fill things out to make it, you know. Some people have different views on that. It depends on how far they go with tracks, but I don't mind that. But that's funny. But at least you were there having fun on emo night. That's a different story. So that's cool, and it's you work with what you got. Right?
That's right. I got to tell you, though, man, I was at Coachella for one day. It's my first time going, and I had one mission. Well, actually, there was two missions, and I failed one of the missions, which was to see Brockhampton because it was their last show live. But I got to see Turnstile. And
Turnstile, great live.
Dude, they slayed it. I got to tell you, man, I rolled up to the crowd, like I was just in the crowd.
Yeah.
Rolled up there a half hour before they went on stage. The band members are up there plugging their guitars in, testing stuff. Like, this is like real punk rock shit right here.
Yeah, I went to see them downtown L.A., their last show they did, and they were phenomenal. They're great.
Yeah,
band.
Dude. Just a great band. Really refreshing.
I mean, I'm not knocking Coachella because I know some people love it, and my friends actually
I get it.
all work involved with it, so I'm not disrespecting. I'm just saying that somebody made it said, he goes, I think only like 10 artists actually were playing their instruments there, and I'm like, hey, whatever. You know, whatever makes people happy. At the end of the day.
Hey, dude, listen.
Yeah.
I'll bring all the instruments and we'll play it next year. Let's go.
Right, you know, which is so great. You know, one of the really cool things that we did, you know, you and I connected, thank God, even when it was people weren't really able to get together. We had a small group of friends that would connect, and you and I hooked up at NRG Studios where you guys recorded Infest, you know what I mean? Back with Jay Baumgartner back in the day. But you were out there, you were visiting, we connected, we sat in your SUV, man, and you played me some of the tracks from the new Amigo trip, and I remember just how blown away I was because you were just, again, pushing the envelope like you guys do. You're mixing many different styles. Can we talk about a couple other things on the record, too, like Swerve? Swako, who's this new artist, is such a great, young, talented guy. A lot taller. He gave me a ride home one night, and I was like, man, this dude's a lot taller than me. It's not hard to be taller than me. But I love Swako. He's great. And, of course, Fever 333, you guys do the song Swerve. Tell me about that coming together.
Yeah, man. So in the process of making Ego Trip, it was really about experimentation at points in the process of writing. And my producer, Nick Furlong, was like, hey, man, I got a friend of mine, Spencer, who's going to roll through and just, you know, hang for a day at the session. I was like, yeah, dude. Have him come out, man. So he rolled out and he had a saxophone with him. I was like, dude, what's up? So with that saxophone, dude, you're gonna break that thing out. And so we had this loop, this beat loop that Tobin had sent us. And then there was this acoustic guitar, kind of like guitar riff that was on top of it. And I was just messing with some vocal ideas. And next thing you know, Spencer's got his saxophone out, jamming to this thing. And he put on this, you know, we just had our iPhones on, straight up iPhones. We recorded his saxophone with the iPhone right there, then chopped it, flipped it, threw it in the track. And then we were like, all right, now this is blowing my mind. I tried to write a million melodies for this song. And cause it's like, it was obvious, right? When I heard the song, I'm like, I would rap on this song. And I'm like, but I don't always want to do what you think you're supposed to do. So let me try to write melodies. I couldn't write a melody for the life of me on this track. Nothing was inspiring. And my producer was like, hey, man, I'm going to flip the track off to Jason from Fever. And I was like, yes, flip the track to Jason from Fever. I want to see let's see what he comes with. Let's see what his inclination is. And so Jay spit these bars on it and sent them back. And I was like, oh, I knew it. Now I got to write bars. So I hit Jay up. I'm like, hey, man, I'm about to write bars and hit you back with them. Check it out. So he was in Australia or New Zealand at the time. And so I went in the studio, wrote some bars, threw him on the mic, cut him, sent him back to him. Then he wrote some more bars. And at the end of the day, we were like, oh man, this song is popping. Like we were all excited about this song. And you know, it's typical to just have like one guest vocal. And I was like, nah, dude, we need to get another guest. And my other producer, Colin Britton, had done some work with this guy, Swako. And we were throwing around a bunch of names. And I can't tell you the other names because they were like, nah, I can't do it. So whatever. So Swako was all about it. And we sent him the track. He cut his bars, sent them back to us. And it was funny, man, because we never all were in the same place until we shot the video, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was being creative in their own space, and we were talking on the phone and FaceTiming and doing this. But finally, we all got together at the video shoot, and it was just such a great vibe. And I got so much respect for the legend, Jason Alon Butler. That dude he's just a beam of light in the rock world, in the punk world. And I love his spirit. I love him as a human. Love him, just awesome artist. And then to have Swako, this young up and coming talent, bless us on the track as well. It was just a really cool cross section of these three, you know, creatives coming together. And it's a banging track, and it's super different, but it's fun, man. And this is supposed to be fun, this music and this creative process. It doesn't always have to be like this torturous, hard moment that I'm getting through in my life. And it was a really good experience for us, straight up. Like yeah. I had a blast.
I mean, you've had a lot of great singles off this record, right? Kill the Noise, obviously, too. And I love Dying to Believe. It's a great song. I mean, it was, so 14 songs, it clocks in at about 43, 44 minutes of record.
Yeah.
How long, you've been working on it for a good period of time, because obviously the whole COVID thing had an effect on it too. But you think in some ways that was kind of a cool thing because it gave you a chance to like take a little time and explore and ask other people. It worked out to be a positive thing for you, right?
Absolutely, man. I didn't realize I needed a break, man. To be honest, we came home off the road and I was kind of like, we were having the sickest tour. Why we got to stop? And obviously pandemic sets in right now. I'm home for a few months and I needed a break. I was worn out. And then after I started to like go a little stir crazy and drive my wife up the wall a little bit, I was like, called up Tobin. It's like, hey man, I think it's time we get in the studio, dude. We need to make some noise. So we rented a house and lived there for a month together with our producers and our engineers. And we just went off creatively and just explored all types of different things and wrote music that felt inspiring and music that was so far out of the box that will probably never be released, but just that moment of not having the pressure of going, you're making a record. It's like, just go be creative. And that was a really refreshing moment for us, especially because, it was kind of uncertain times and we didn't know, but, creating music that's our safe space. That's where we feel the most comfortable and free. And what an awesome experience to be able to continue to do, to continue to make music with people that I love and I care for, and also to show my kids, keep chasing your dreams. Like, don't let that dream ever die, ever. Don't ever let the dream inside die. And I want to instill that in my kids through the art, and it's just such a gift. I'm so grateful, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, man. And the record came out great, and I'm excited. I'll see you at Rockville, Aftershock.
Yeah.
We got some festivals we'll be at together, which I'm really pumped about.
Absolutely.
Hitting the road, and we'll be hanging a lot. But Jacoby, I appreciate you taking the time today. It's always great to see you.
Hey, you know it, man. I love you, dude.
I love
appreciate
you too, brother. Absolutely. We go back.
Hey, check it out. Before I leave, though, we got to hang and watch Kiss together, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Absolutely. 100%, man. We'll watch Kiss together. We cannot miss that. That's going to be an incredible show. What a night. I mean, the lineup at Welcome to Rockville this year is so unbelievable. I mean, you're part of that, and I think it's great. We're gonna have an incredible time, and I'm counting the weeks. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be good. So, Jacoby, I love you, brother. And it's great to catch up with you here, man. Thanks so much for being on the show. All
Love you, man.
Awesome to see
Appreciate you, Matt.
All right. I'll speak to you soon, Jacoby. Thanks for everything, brother.
Yes, sir.
Always the best. Jacoby Shaddix. Jacoby Shaddix right there. Always great to have him on the show. It's KLOS, new and approved. I'm your host, Matt Pinfield. Thanks so much for joining us.